Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Real Film Chatter. My name is Patrick Campbell, and I am happy to be joined by a very wonderful group of individuals to talk about all things going on in the world of movies. First off, we have the man we call the Talking Can, Andy Comer.
Alien 3.
Woo!
Diego showed up.
Oh my God, yes! And joining us today is the Waffle Man himself, Diego Crespo.
Hello, it's good to be back. I missed this.
We've missed having you here, so it's good that you finally actually came back and actually accepted our offer. And, of course, we have none other than Sarah Campbell.
It's me. I just watched the 9 trailer.
Yeah, you're jumping back. I just got to say real quick, I'm just going to start it off. Sarah and I got to see Logan last week, and it was amazing. You guys should go check out my review on SoCalThrills.com, but I just wanted to throw, you guys... We're so lucky to live in a world where Logan exists.
Old man Logan, definitely.
That's a bold statement.
No, it's just the right statement. We're living in a year where John Wick and Logan exist.
Okay, that's high claim. So
exactly.
I have very high hopes for this movie now.
You should, because it's the kind of movie that Diego's been waiting for a long time.
It's really, really good.
Is it as good as Bad Boys 2?
It's better than Bad Boys 2.
Okay. Diego, can you figure this out for me? I got home today, and my grandpa, who yells at me for watching violent movies, was watching Bad Boys 2.
Shocked.
That was the best way we could have possibly started this podcast. But, of course, as we always do, it is the beginning of the podcast. So let's talk about the weekend box office. Mr. Andy Comer, let's jump into it.
Sounds good. To start off with the top 10 was a couple repeats. We start with number 1, Lego Batman movie with $42,500,000.
It'd been really bad if it was 4,200.
I know.
I think WB would be very upset.
I know.
Which is a 4-day estimate, dropping 19% from last week. Number 2 this week is 23 million with 50 Shades, dropping 50%. And then the first new movie this weekend, what do you guys think is the first one to top the box office of the new films this weekend?
Man, what even opened this weekend?
I was about to say, but I didn't want to say it. Yeah, what came out?
And not in any particular order, it was Fist Fight, A Cure for Wellness, and Great Wall.
I'm going to say that Fist Fight because of Ice Cube.
It was The Great Wall with just over $21.5 million.
That is awesome.
Then coming in number 4 is John Wick Chapter 2 with just over $19 million, a 37% drop. Number 5 is Fist Fight with just over $14.5 million.
People actually went to go see that?
Yeah, Ice Cube. I'm telling you, Ice Cube is enough of a draw, and that's about the opening the Friday movies make, so that's not bad.
Yeah, definitely. I was surprised that Great Wall outdid it, but it might have been the 3D. I don't know.
And
but,
the IMAX.
Yeah.
It had IMAX too.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Okay, so I just want to start off, and last week we talked a little bit about 50 Shades. We all expected 50 Shades was going to drop pretty significantly. It only having a 50% drop is a lot less than I was expecting for the weekend, because 50 Shades of Grey dropped like 80%. It was like a historic drop the year it came out. So that 50 Shades Darker actually dropped less than that is very interesting to me, considering word of mouth seemed a lot more toxic for this one.
But you have to also consider that didn't this one make a lot less?
True. Also true.
The opening weekend.
Yeah, 50% less.
Yeah, so that makes sense then.
And then I love seeing that both John Wick and the Lego Movie had really strong holds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And continued to cling into not just the top 5, but they're raking in money. Like, Batman and John Wick both dropped less than 50%, and that's amazing. this time of year. So I'm really happy about it. What do you guys think of the top box office?
John Wick 2 already recouped its budget and made more than the first one, right?
Oh yeah, and it had already what it did 100% over what the first one did its opening weekend, and is now just like running forward.
Oh, it makes me so happy because John Wick 2 is just life by this point. So this is good stuff. I still haven't seen Lego Batman, but I'm glad to know Lego things are doing good because the Lego movie might be the best movie ever made.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
yeah.
I am super jacked that John Wick Chapter 2 is holding up so strong because, like what you just said, it's already made more than the last one. So Chapter 3, bring it. Can't wait.
Okay,
Uh,
I gotta
go
say
ahead.
real quick, like we kind of talked about it last week, but I'm really jacked now that David Leitch is doing Highlander. Like what he's done with the first two John Wick movies makes me so excited by the chance of us seeing like the new Highlanders and them actually being good. Is it just me?
Uh, I I have no strong feelings about Highlander, but I bet it's gonna rock, and that's because of the director. So I'm not looking forward to it still, but I'm sure it'll be good if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And then Sarah, what did you think of the box office?
I know last week we were super duper worried about the fact that with Valentine's Day in the mix that we were like, oh, 50 Shades Darker is going to take over. But funny story is we actually went to the movies on Valentine's Day that night, and it was like kind of a weird I think it was kind of a balance of people deciding between the Lego Batman movie and 50 Shades Darker, because I felt like I think our theater was decently filled with Lego Batman people.
I
I
would
think
say
it
that it
was-
was a pretty close to sold out showing of Lego
Yeah,
Batman on
and
Valentine's
honestly,
Day.
I was super duper impressed that Lego Batman. Not impressed, but I'm so glad that Batman beat 50 Shades Darker, because honestly, Lego Batman is so awesome, and you can take anyone to see it versus the audience that 50 Shades Darker has. And so I'm just glad that it came out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very interesting weekend overall, I feel like, at the box office. But like I said, it's great to see John Wick and Lego Batman holding on. Is there anything you guys are surprised about with the new releases?
Yeah, I was shocked that A Cure for Wellness only made 5 million and it didn't even make the top 10.
What was the budget on that? Does anyone know? I
I'm
never
looking it up
looked
right now. Yeah,
because
but it was pricey for a
yeah,
small little
40.
thriller like that.
40. Oh
40.
my god, dude, Fox made that. That sucks for them, which is really unfortunate because Fox has been doing pretty good work. And like Cure for Wellness, I feel like they should have known going in. They were like, we gave Gore Verbinski $40 million to do like a really artsy horror movie. We just saw the same thing happen like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago now, almost, with Crimson Peak and Del Toro.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, but who cares? Because I think both of these are very good movies.
Well,
so-
no, exactly. The money doesn't talk about the quality. I just mean in general when it comes to the fact that the studio wants to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, that was a terrible investment. Well, no, because then I don't know, because I know we like to look at things like financially, but then also the movie industry is so interesting because yeah, you have to take in budgetary stuff into account, but at the same time, the budgets have to go to something worthwhile. And so even though they haven't recuperated their money, and in the strictest financial sense, yeah, both losses, but this industry isn't like other industries, so I always feel weird when like I look at something like that because it's just mixed feelings
Oh
all
no,
around.
no, absolutely, and that makes sense because that's what I've been thinking for a while. Yes, sir.
Another thing I noticed is the fact that A Dog's Purpose is still holding strong in the top 10, isn't it? Or am I looking
Yeah.
at the wrong one?
It made it number 8.
It's
Wow.
number 8 right now.
I'm
Right,
surprised.
it's actually right. It's right above La La Land.
Well, how much? How much has it made so far?
So far, it's at 52 million. La La Land's in its 11th week compared to Dog's Purpose 4th
Yeah.
week.
But
with 134.
But
all
I'm
things
super
considered, yeah, with
surprised.
the controversy around A Dog's Purpose, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I just wanted to
that's
point
fair.
that out. Like,
Especially because I think it was only made for like 20 something million. So the fact that it's already cost 50 million, I mean, it's not a lot of money, but Universal can sit happy knowing it's at least turned a profit for it.
yeah.
Um, but I guess it's good to see good movies doing well, and it's a bummer that maybe better movies weren't doing well. But if there was one movie you guys had to recommend that's in theaters right now, what would it
John Wick
be?
2. John Wick 2.
That's just it, huh?
John Wick 2.
Okay.
Well, what else did I watch? I
Cure.
didn't hate The Great Wall. It's weird.
We had an awesome Twitter discussion about that earlier before
did.
you watched it.
Yeah.
We never got back to it though.
Yeah, my statements on that thread still stand for the most part.
Okay.
It's a weird movie. It's like the most expensive B movie ever made.
That sounds about right. I mean, it looks like it, which may or may not be a good thing. But I mean, for me, I'm probably going to love it because of that.
$150 million.
It's made a ton of money overseas, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's like the Warcraft thing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Legendary excels at making movies that are big overseas. And so it's no surprise to me that it's doing really well, especially because it's a very Chinese-based film with one white guy in it. Well, two white guys, but you know what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
mostly a Chinese-dominated film. And I wish that we had been able to market it that way here. But the really sad matter is they wouldn't have even made the movie if Matt Damon wasn't in it.
Yeah.
And that's really strange and very kind of, especially when you consider that like Universal has made a ton of money off the Fast and the Furious franchise being so diverse, which was kind of part of the conversation we had earlier.
But
What's
there was
up?
You think they'd catch on, like,
Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, what? Like, there's these studies coming out recently. I can't. If I find them, I'll link them on Twitter again, but I can't find them anywhere right now. But where people are saying like, oh, like all these shows with black people and Chinese people and people of color are doing really well in these in every demographic. Why, like, what
Yeah,
is it? Is that
Blackish
some
is
new
doing
discovery?
so
Like,
good
it's
right
not a
now.
new discovery. It's just a thing that people like to see on screen.
Do we all forget that like Straight Outta Compton made how much money not that long ago? And that was a legendary Universal movie too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The poster's still up.
Yeah, and I mean, it was like the mid-90s. It wasn't that long ago that Jackie Chan and Jet Li were pretty popular over here, and they could star in movies and make money. So it just seems weird to me that...
Yeah, no, it's just dumb mentality where they're like, oh, well, nobody knows these actors. And well, the thing is, actors don't sell anymore. I think we've had this discussion.
Oh, we have.
Many times. Actors don't really sell anymore unless you're like Tom Cruise, and even then, it's like,
But
starting to
even
be hit or miss.
I was gonna say, even then, that's hit or miss because Jack Reacher 2 didn't do very well here, but it made a ton of money overseas. Like the
Yeah.
overseas audiences like the big action star and like the big names. But you watch does anyone remember The Judge? It came out a couple years ago with Robert Downey Jr. It was in the middle of his heyday of Sherlock Holmes and Iron Man, and the movie did not do well at all, even though it was a great movie. But no one was interested because I really
We
liked
can
that
talk
movie.
about that another time because I'm gonna say a hard no. But I also think, it's one of those things where you need to position certain actors in specific movies to draw the audience. Robert Downey Jr. will make money with Sherlock Holmes and Avengers stuff, but no one wants to see him in a really melodramatic soap opera movie. I
Yeah.
love my melodrama. I just don't like that movie. It's another conversation.
Oh, yeah, I mean, absolutely, I agree. But I mean, I really am happy to see that good movies do well. That always makes me happy. I hope that Cure for Wellness finds an audience, though. I will say
hope
that.
so too.
I will say that. So moving on from the box office, though, we're just talking about this. Kind of plays into exactly what we've just been talking about. That people are afraid of maybe names they don't know and things like that. And so, of course, we've been hearing for a while that they're trying to remake The Raid in America. It's gone through a few different directors. It's had a few different people who have been a part of it. But now we're actually seeing that not only is the Raid remake happening, it actually has some pretty powerful talent behind the camera bringing it to life, as Joe Carnahan is going to be remaking the Raid with his kind of his muse now, if I can call him that, Frank Grillo. And this is very interesting to me. They announced it on Twitter, and XYZ Pictures actually put out the tweet saying that it was a video of Carnahan and Frank Grillo watching the raid together and saying what they would do, and then they announced that they're actually making the raid. And Carnahan went on to say that the raid remake will be closer in tone and feel to the Grey and Narc, and that Gareth Evans is producing alongside and has given us his full blessing. It's not a remake, it's a reimagining of the same scenario. Everybody just take a deep breath. We won't disappoint you, you rabid fanboys from hell. You can't remake The Raid. It's a fantastic film, so ask yourselves, why would we be doing it unless we had something really special? So, guys, we all know I've talked about The Raid to death for the last couple of years on this podcast and how much I love it. So how do we feel about The Raid being redone in America with Joe Carnahan and Frank Grillo?
I love The Raid and The Raid 2, but there's absolutely no reason why we need to have an Americanized version of this, especially already. Like, I understand, like, when did the first one come out? Does anybody know?
I'll look right now.
2012 or 2011?
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
It's like
It's not
2011.
even a decade old. It's 5 years old. We don't need, like, because they might be working on a third one still. We don't need an Americanized version within 10 years at least. Probably closer to 20 years would be more acceptable to me. But if you really like the idea, then just make a different film. Don't take, like, you know, the action beats or whatever, you know, like the inspiration from it, and just make your own great action film. Because, like, it's gonna make me really mad when I hear all these people talking about how they love The Raid, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then you start talking about, like, something that happens in the original, and they're like, that didn't happen. And you're like, why haven't you seen the original? Well, why do I need to? I have this one. And because people are lazy these days, and, like, some of them will go back and look at this will help them go back and see the original Raid, I'll give you that, but so many more people will not even know that there was an original, and it just makes me angry to think that that's a possibility.
I don't know. I think that complaint is a little, I don't know, like, kind of elitist. Just like, who cares? I'm sure it's going to help more people discover the original Raid more than it is the opposite of what you're saying, actually. Because, I mean, yeah, people are lazy, but anybody who likes movies will just watch movies, period, you know? That being said, I don't think this needs to exist. And then it's Joe Carnahan, which then makes me change back to, oh, wait a second, I want another Joe Carnahan movie. I'm a huge Joe Carnahan fan.
You and me both, buddy.
So I don't know. I think Stretch is one of the great post 2000 movies. Like,
I was at Smoking Aces on opening night. Like, I won't even lie about it. I love
okay.
Carnahan.
I saw the one after theaters, but yeah, he's just a powerhouse of a director. He just gets it. He just gets movie making, and he has an energy that is infectious. I'm more concerned about what this means for Bad Boys 3. He might just be lining up projects, but I'm getting very concerned about that movie recently, even though I feel like I shouldn't be, because they already spent like $2 million on pre-production. I think I don't have anything.
They were remember he was doing the animatronics for it and everything already too.
Yeah, so I'm concerned about that, but I don't know. I'm mixed on an American remake of The Raid because it is really soon, and we already have an English language version of The Raid. And it's called Dread. So
yeah,
exactly.
Which came out like the exact same time, which is so odd.
Yeah. So, and they're both great. So I don't know. I trust him and Frank Grillo, but
Really mixed.
It's an odd idea. Yeah. I imagine he's gonna like have to change things up significantly if he calls it like a reimagining. Like maybe he's taking aspects of The Raid 2 and putting it in there also.
That's kind of what I'm wondering too. I actually have a theory as well that I'll bring up in a second, but first I want to get Sarah's thoughts because Sarah actually just recently discovered The Raid. So this is kind of interesting because, you know, we've all talked about it since 2011 when it came out. But, you know, that was 6 years ago, and now Sarah's just discovered it. So, Sarah, what do you think of the idea of an American version of The Raid?
Well, when it comes to the subject like this, when it's them touching a, like, not, I guess, Asian classic kind of.
I'd just say a classic in
Just
general.
a classic because the reason I want to say it like that though is because there's stuff like Train to Busan that America wants to touch too, and then there's just like you just want to stop and go stop.
Yeah, well, the
Because
Train to
there's-
Busan thing doesn't make any sense to me because that literally the whole point of Train to Busan is for them to get to Busan.
Exactly, but in retrospect, like it's stuff like that you're like, don't touch my movies, and I feel like a lot of people are gonna be that way because The Raid, it really is a good movie. Like it's really really good, and honestly, I don't see why we would need an American like version of this, but Frank Grillo, given the fact he was in the Purge movies and he was Crossbones, right?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't think they would mess it up, but I don't see why we would need
and
it.
you
But
like the A-Team, which is Carnahan, when he got to do like a big action blockbuster, which he hasn't gotten to do since, until he's hopefully doing Bad Boys 3. So, as someone who likes that, is there something about his style that makes you excited about the idea of the Raid?
the matchup of Carnahan and Grillo together, I feel like they will not mistreat this movie.
Okay.
But there's honestly only time will tell. Like we don't need it, but if it's good, then sure.
So
Like-
here's what I want to present to you guys. And this might sound crazy, but what if this reimagining of the Raid was actually part of the series and it actually had the main character played by Akio Uwaz? I'm probably butchering the name.
I think it's,
Iko Uwaz? Uis?
No, Iko
Yeah,
US.
Iko Uwais. What if he
You're
came
wrong
back
also, I
in the
apologize.
film and played his characters from the original two? How would you guys feel about that? I'm not
Oh,
saying
then-
it's something that would happen, but what if that was part of it?
Oh, cool. Then yeah, I'd love it.
Same.
Yeah. I feel like that could be an interesting way to kind of, especially with Evans producing it, it could make it an interesting way to kind of mix like the people who are worried about it with what it is. You seem
No, I just honestly I still stand behind the whole like don't touch my good movie, go away kind of thing. Like the only thing I would want really next is maybe like a raid game. That's
oh my
really it.
god, I want a Raid game. I want our Raid 3 movie though cuz the Raid 2 ended in such a place where I need more.
But like, what do you even do?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, at the same time but then again, John Wick 2 did the same thing.
Actually, I haven't seen Raid 2 yet.
No,
I'm
you
waiting
haven't.
for Sam Taylor to get over to Burbank and watch it with me.
Yeah, dude, she hasn't seen the Raid 2 yet, you guys.
Oh, you don't even know.
I know. That's what I
I'm not ready. Oh my gosh.
It is like almost a perfect sequel.
I think it's one of the rare perfect action sequels. Seriously, guys, we've talked about this a little bit over the last couple of weeks. If you have not seen The Raid, get on it and see The Raid. Like, The Raid is such a fantastic film. Both of them together. Watch them. Enjoy them. Don't be scared of subtitles because that's foolish, one. And you're missing good movies by missing subtitles. You guys have got to see these movies, especially if you love action
And the
movies.
dictator.
Anyway, and so let's move on to our next story because, guys, what do we love to do? We love to podcast. And apparently, so does Robert Downey Jr. and Richard Linklater, who are
Aw.
teaming up for a new film that's currently untitled, but they're actually going to be adapting a podcast. There's a podcast called the Replay Podcast, which actually tells stories about kind of crazy things that happen. And apparently, the one they're focusing on is one that was aired in January. Oh, on my birthday, January 19th of this year, which was about the story of a charlatan named Dr. John Brinkley, who Robert Downey Jr. will play, who scammed his way to fame and fortune using fake medicine, populism, and the newest technology at the time, radio. As Brinkley's fame grows, he gets the attention of Dr. Morris Feisman, editor of the AMA, who begins a decade-long quest to take him down. Downey Jr. is also going to be producing the film along his wife and Annapurna Pictures' Megan Ellison, with Linklater directing. This sounds amazing to me. I'm really excited. I'm a big fan of Linklater. I'm a huge fan of Downey Jr. This can't come out soon enough. I'm really excited. So what do you guys think of this podcast film?
I'm really intrigued by what it ends up actually being, if that makes any sense. Like the way that it's put together, what they actually do with it, it just seems really interesting to me. Great filmmakers working together can fail, but putting great filmmakers together is always a good step to the right direction to making a great film. So I'm just excited.
The last podcast that became a movie was Tusk, I believe, right?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, I already have the opposite reaction I had to that movie with this news of this movie. So, yeah, Linklater is awesome. He's made several of my favorite movies, and Robert Downey Jr. obviously, awesome guy too. Uh, yeah, it sounds intriguing. I'm wondering when it's going to happen. Do we know when it's going to happen?
It sounded like it's moving pretty quickly because the podcast aired on January 19th and they already came together with a deal.
Dang.
So,
Okay,
I mean,
well,
this sounds
I'm
like
looking
some.
forward to it.
Yeah, I think it sounds like something they're all really excited about. And it's interesting because am I the only one who see? Because remember when Oz the Great and Powerful was being made and Downey Jr. was originally attached to play Oz? So,
Yeah.
so this kind of seems like going back to that because the character kind of reminds me of Oz. Like the charlatan who could talk his way through anything and could really empower people even though he's lying to them. Like, do you guys see that too?
Uh,
I don't know.
kinda.
It's kind of interesting. It reminds me of that. So it's kind of funny to see him going back to it, I guess, is what I'm getting at. But it's the perfect role for Downey Jr.
Absolutely.
Do you have any strong thoughts one way or another, Sarah, about the podcast movie by Richard Linklater?
I really like what Linklater did when I saw his movie Everybody Wants Some.
Yeah, that was like your introduction to Linklater too.
Pretty much. And I really, really liked what he did with that film, and so I kind of digging his style. I really just want more Linklater. And Robert Downey Jr., I mean, he's a heartthrob for everybody. So honestly, having yet again this team up, it should be good. I'm really, really excited because Linklater's style. That's what I'm excited
I'm
about.
actually wondering, did you see Bernie, Diego?
No, I actually haven't seen Bernie.
That's what I'm wondering if they're going to go through that kind of style with this, because that was a Linklater movie. And it's like, it was a true story, and it had McConaughey and Sally Field, or no, Shirley MacLaine and Jack Black. And the way they told it, it was fictionalized, but they actually had the real people who were involved intercut in the movie with actors in the movie, so you didn't know who was real and who wasn't. And they were like telling the story at the same time as the movie plays out. It was a really interesting device. I'd like to see if he was kind of going back to something like that, because it makes me really curious. Because Linklater's style is so interesting. Like, he makes movies like Everybody Wants Some that are just kind of free-flowing in whatever they are. Boyhood, too. Like, Boyhood is a masterpiece of storytelling just about growing up.
I still need to watch that.
Have you guys seen? Oh shoot, what's Waking Life?
Oh, so good.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, obviously this material doesn't sound like it would fit to something like that, but I think that is something that is specific to Richard Linklater, where he's almost like he almost makes like vignettes for storytelling instead of like a traditional movie scene by scene narrative thing.
Well,
so
definitely.
I would like to see him go back to something like that too, like borderline abstract.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, and I think that it's funny because the Before series is very much like that too. In a lot of ways, because they're
chunks of people's lives that you get to catch up on every decade.
So
Yeah, I still haven't even seen that.
Oh man.
Oh man, you're missing out, dude. Yeah, and the Criterion Blues are just around the corner too,
Ooh.
because they're releasing the
That's
trilogy.
right.
So
Oh, I'm so excited.
I know, I
Where's my
can't wait to
wallet?
get it, because they did such a great job with Dazed and Confused, and they did such a great job with Boyhood, because they're big on Linklater at Criterion. So it makes me even more excited. Like, I can't wait to get it. I love Richard Linklater.
Warm up your wallets.
Yeah,
y'all.
warm up my wallets, guys, because we got some money to spend. But you know who else has money to spend? Disney. You know why? Because they keep making so much that they keep throwing more money to make more money. And of course, after The Jungle Book, we were wondering what was next for Jon Favreau. Well, it turned out going back to Disney and doing another live-action adaptation was in his sights. Not one we were all particularly thinking was going to happen, but they're doing The Lion King. And now, not only is Jon Favreau directing The Lion King, we have the first two cast members of The Lion King, and the most important, I believe at least, in Simba and Mufasa. And of course, they got Donald Glover, who is amazing in just about everything, who will be, I think, one of the first actors to complete the trifecta at Disney, doing a live-action Disney movie, a Star Wars movie, and a Marvel movie. And now bringing James Earl Jones back as Mufasa in The Lion King, which is amazing. And
Mufasa.
man, I'm excited. So, guys, what do we think of the casting in the new Lion King so far? And are you excited for the new Lion King?
The casting rules. I'm not sure. I'm still very excited for it. I love everything that's happening with the movie. I'm just kind of like, why? Jungle Book's very good. I have no reason to doubt anyone or anything in the movie. I'm just kind of questioning, like, why? I like Favreau to move on to another property or another project entirely, because he just did this type of filmmaking with The Jungle Book, and it worked out very well there.
Yeah.
So I would just like to see him do something different. But this news is good news. Donald Glover, fantastic artist, musically and performance-wise. And obviously James Earl Jones is Hollywood royalty. So, this is great stuff. I just wish it was for a different project.
I definitely am excited for the movie because I love The Lion King. My only thing is, and like, it's just a small thing. Like, if you're gonna bring a voice from the original, like, that kind of will throw me. Well, I feel like it'll throw me off a little bit. Because like all the other voices will be different ones. It seems like if they go through the casting, they could do the majority of the same cast, but then it's like, what's the point if they're just gonna use the same?
Good point.
So it's kind of a mixed bag on that for me. But I'm gonna see it because they make good movies and I love the original. So I don't know. It's just a little gripe.
Sarah?
I like what Andy said. Really, really good points. I think just having those old voices is just the nostalgia factor, of course, because we all thrive off that. But really, I mean, hearing this news, you can't not get excited. But then again, you got to find out the balance between, how Favreau wonderfully balanced the singing in The Jungle Book. I know this has nothing to do with the casting. I'm just worried more on the fact of like how he's going to balance singing in this one too.
I'm really curious about that too, because have we heard outright if this one's a musical or not?
It's gonna be like
It's
all the
gonna
other
I mean,
ones
it
have
has
to
to
be.
be, but I mean, no one's come out and said it. I don't think, right?
I mean, if they did it
I
with
assume
Jungle
it's
Book,
the same vein of the last couple.
Okay, that would make sense, and I could see that. I kind of do agree with you, Andy, a little bit. The idea that maybe having James Earl Jones back might be kind of weird and pull people out, but at the same time, it's James Earl Jones, and I have a hard time seeing anyone else as Mufasa. But then again,
totally.
I have
I
a
get
hard
that.
time. Yeah, but then again, I also have a hard time imagining anyone but Jeremy Irons as Scar, and I don't want him to come back as Scar because if you start bringing back too many of the same players,
it's not your movie
yeah,
anymore.
well, there's no reason to really do it, right?
Yeah.
So here's my casting for Timon and Pumbaa to really shake it up. I want Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele to be Timon and Pumbaa.
That's pretty current. That's pretty current, though. Yeah.
I mean, would you guys be okay with that? Because I really want that.
I would like that. Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like
Definitely.
good casting because they're already doing it like with Donald Glover. Like they get these up and coming guys who are really talented, and Jordan Peele's really making a name for himself already with Get Out. So I'd like to see him. These guys are so talented and they work so well together. Them as Timon and Pumbaa could be so much fun. And I feel like we'd get something along the lines of the Robin Williams Genie performance because you could let them do a lot.
Yeah, I think that would be really good, and then the outtakes would be hysterical.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, they'd be amazing, and they're so talented. I think that's like the best opportunity to get these guys and have them as Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah, because they already struck out with Keanu, didn't they?
Well, not really struck out. I mean, it made
You
fine
don't hear
money.
anyone talking about Keanu.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, I've heard plenty from people.
yeah,
Exactly.
like
I
there's a
mean, I don't know anyone who like adored it or anything, but
That's what I mean. Like, no one really just been like, "Oh, that Keanu movie, though." Like,
yeah, but it was a low budget little movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a tiny movie, and it was
Yeah.
fun.
I think it would be a great idea to use them. Definitely, it would it's their platform.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. Like, it seems like the perfect kind of thing to let them do because Timon and Pumbaa are inherently ridiculous characters,
Oh yeah,
and they bicker like an old married couple, which Keegan Michael Key and Jordan Peele do very well together.
yeah.
Anyone who's watched Key and Peele knows this. So that's my hope. Maybe Disney will listen. Disney, please listen to us because we want it to happen. But you know what else Disney's doing right now is a live-action remake of Mulan, which is more understandable in a lot of ways than a live-action remake of The Lion King because it
Yeah.
actually has humans in it. The Lion King still seems weird because it's a live-action movie with CGI characters.
But yeah,
But this is not. And now, not only is Mulan happening, Mulan is happening with the Whale Rider director, Nikki Caro, who directed McFarlane USA just recently and was actually at one point circling Captain Marvel. So Disney is clearly high on working with Caro again. I love, one, that we're seeing a strong female director behind the lens of a movie like this. Wish it was an Asian one, but that's okay. But I'm really excited. This is great. Guys, what do you think of Nikki Caro directing Mulan?
it should be an Asian director, not because
Well,
not because specifically they're Asian, only Asian people can tell it, but they don't get the opportunity to tell their own stories often in this industry, and two, yeah, they're probably going to tell this type of story better than an outsider.
we
which is
should.
what we have here. And yeah, it's great that Nikki Caro is a woman director, but
I also
I feel like this is a missed opportunity.
Well, we should note though that they did reach out to Asian directors that turned down the project, so it wasn't like Disney went to her first.
I feel like they're Disney and could have found someone.
No, I'm just saying though. But let's not. We need to preface this by saying, just remember they did at least reach out and they did try. Maybe they didn't try hard enough, but they did go to Asian directors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. I wish it had. But I am glad to see a female, especially because they gave Ava DuVernay A Wrinkle in Time, which is a big
Oh, yeah, I
budget
can't
movie
wait
as
for that
well.
one.
So it's good to see Disney backing female talent like this. Andy?
No, yeah, it is.
Oh, or Diego.
I wasn't fond of McFarlane USA because I don't even remember it at all. But I'm interested in this project because Mulan's one of my favorite Disney movies, and of the movies that they're adapting to live action, which seems like all of them by this point, this is the one I'd really want to see. Like if I had to handpick one, this is the one.
Yeah, I'm with you. This is the one I actually want to see because I feel like it can actually be a live action movie. Sarah?
A woman behind the camera is I'm always a fan. Always a fan of that. But the fact that you've said that she was circling
Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel, and the fact that she now has landed just another strong, female character like Mulan is super duper awesome because then little girls still will have a woman behind the camera and, putting, a film out there with another strong female character that we already know and love. But the fact that she will live action be in front of us will help little girls identify and relate better because she's live action.
Yeah.
Which is what makes sense for you saying it's not just animals.
And casting's going to be real key here because you want to make sure whoever you put in front of the camera as Mulan is a strong presence too.
I'm almost wondering if I can't call her anything else because it's who she is to me. I'm wondering if Agent May will probably be trying to make sure she signs off on the person that's Mulan.
I could see her playing Mulan's mom actually because
Yeah.
Mulan's mom is a character or at least in the animated movie. I could see her in that role. I'm actually who's the actress who's in The Great Wall?
Oh,
Uh,
I don't know her name.
it's
Shoot,
I don't want to mess up the name.
I'll let you
But hang
do it
on, I'm
because
looking
I'm
it up right
going to
now.
if I don't.
Tianjin.
I think she could be Mulan. I think she's a
Yeah,
big enough
she's good.
star overseas,
I could see that.
and I think with her having the role in the Great Wall gave her some sort of presence in America enough that I think she could do it because she has the look.
What about
Yeah,
the
and
girl
she's
in
very
Pacific
good.
Rim?
Yeah, and she's very good. The girl in Pacific Rim is good too. But I think
She's Japanese though.
but she's Japanese, yeah, and this is a
Oh.
Chinese tale. So I think that she would be the best bet, at least in my opinion, of who I've seen. Because I mean, I watch a lot of martial arts movies, but a lot of the time it's guys like Donnie Yen in the lead. So there's not enough strong female action heroines that I've seen lately, at least out of China and Hong Kong and places like that. So that's where my mind immediately goes is to the actress in the Great Wall, and she. So that's me, Andy. What do you think?
Um, I never really got into the animated version of this, and like you guys said that it's the most like the one that makes most sense to be live action, which I totally agree. And maybe I will enjoy that one more. I don't know. Like I haven't seen the other one in a long time,
That makes me
but like
sad.
it just never I just never really connected with it. But yeah, I definitely need to go back and give it another shot. But because of that, I think that I am a little bit more excited than I normally would have been. Because like none of these Disney live action versions have really blown me away. Like they've all been fine, but like nothing like I don't see why they were any of them were really needed. So this one or that one might be the make or break for me for you know if I think that they should even continue because it is the most logical one because it is like a really important tale for China and for women and all that. So it's I think that it would be it. I hope it's good and I hope that I enjoy it. But yeah, in the meantime, I need to go back and rewatch the animated.
I'm really hoping too that this one is its own thing and it doesn't try to use too much of the animated movie because like much as we like characters like Mushu, like I want this to be a really like a real dramatic retelling of the story of Mulan. Am I the only one who feels that way, or do we need the Mushu character and those comic relief like the cricket?
Maybe not the cricket, but Mushu's arc, I think, really complements Mulan's in a. It juxtaposes it in a fun way.
Mm.
Okay,
They're both trying to achieve honor for
for their family.
their families and themselves.
Hmm.
So yeah, keep that. I don't think you need to lose the comedy aspect. It doesn't need to be like grounded
Well, I'm not saying
entirely.
like super grounded, but
Gritty and not funny at all.
oh, we're about to talk about that in just a second,
Jesus.
Sarah.
I think I'm just my go-to is gonna keep comparing it to Jungle Book just because I know that it was like it did it right. And like so what was the question again?
Essentially, do you want this to have Mushu in as a character, or
So did Jungle Book have comedic relief?
well, not just comedic relief, but do we want this
Did it
because
have
Mulan is such a no, listen, because the way I'm explaining it is Mulan is such an important tale, like a real kind of amazing tale. Do we want to make it more lifelike and real without a character like that?
I feel like it should be more lifelike because of the fact that it is so tied and ingrained in the culture. I
Mhm.
feel like it should be more serious this time and almost in that fact being its own movie
Yeah.
because of the different theme and the tone.
That makes sense. See that, and so that's kind of what I was getting at. But I think we're all just hopeful for the movie at this point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and we hope that it goes well. Something that we worry about on a daily basis at Warner Brothers.
Oh no.
Because Warner Brothers continues to have all these problems, and the biggest issue with that is that it's not that these issues are happening, it's that it's happening for everyone to see. And now, after publicly losing Ben Affleck as director in a very strange PR mess. Now we are seeing that Matt Reeves, who was the most recent director in talks for Batman and looked to be a lock, has now walked away from the talks to direct Ben Affleck in the Batman. And not only did the talks break down, the THR article, if I remember correctly, says something along the lines of the negotiations may continue when heads cool off, which tells me that the negotiations were not going well and that people were getting angry at each other. So not only is this a problem for us as fans watching what's happening with the character of Batman, it's also what is happening at Warner Brothers that would make someone like Matt Reeves walk away. He's so angry that talks may or may not continue again. I will say that I've been hearing rumblings he may have met with Lucasfilm recently. I will leave that up to you guys for what it is. But what do we feel about Matt Reeves and the Batman drama?
Jesus. Sorry.
Do we need? Oh, wait. Diego doesn't know about this. Diego, Real Film Chatter has a new friend. You want to know who he is? Real Film Chatter has our own This Is Fine Dog plush dog, and
Amazing.
we pull him out whenever we talk about the DCEU.
PP.
Basically, we pull him.
Amazing.
Yeah, basically, anytime something happens that's bad and looks worse, and people are pretending everything is fine, This Is Fine Dog comes out. Everyone can't see him, but we're holding This Is Fine Dog right now because WB, This Is Fine Dog. So let's talk about what's going on with Matt Reeves and Batman, shall we, everyone?
Oh my God, Diego, you want to go?
Yeah. Oh my God, do I? Well, I mean, this is kind of what happens when. Look, I know some people like Zack Snyder's movies. You could even like every single DC. You could think they're the greatest movies in the world, but if they're not doing their job, platform creativity and audiences, totally wrong in the creative process. So this, I think, stems. Whatever the reason is now, this all stems from the decision to have him be the guiding light universe, because people are not responding well to these movies. They make their money back, and I don't think that's going to continue for very long. For whatever reason, they just can't see movies right now, and it's become so bad and so toxic that you're having trouble finding a director for a Batman movie. So, like, just stop. Maybe just pull the plug finally, because you got like 5 years max at this rate. And I think that's being generous, if I'm being honest. So, I don't know. I'm trying not to be negative, but this is just bad all around for everyone involved. And if Matt Reeves decides to go somewhere far, far away instead, I would be happy to see that. This is just a mess. Just like, stop. You guys, you're trying to build a universe on toxic soil by this point.
It's an Indian burial ground.
Yeah, no, it's like it's like he tried to make, no, where this is the white man coming in with like the toxic sludge, kills the entire Native American like society, and then curses that ground afterwards.
Oh my
Like,
God,
it's
this
the whole
escalated
shebang.
so quickly.
Yeah.
We're basically building on top of Poltergeist, is what we're saying.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, Andy, what do you think?
I don't know what they think they're doing and how they think that they're doing it right, but they're obviously wrong about everything. Everything possibly that they could be getting wrong, they are apparently. I just want Matt Reeves to make a great movie. So yeah, if it's not with Batman, then I want him to go find somewhere where he makes something that he wants to make and that people like me will enjoy. If it's not Batman, then so be it. But like, this is just ridiculous. I don't understand how the hell they are flying through people this quickly. Like, there is, if anything, they should have learned to keep this stuff behind doors. Like, just so that it doesn't blow up in their faces every 2 seconds. Because then they're like, They're getting to the point where they're so petty about everything that they're just like, okay, well, you guys hated that stuff. Here's some news. Here's some bright light, or here's some silver lining, and then that even goes away. Well, we need silver lining for our silver lining. No, just shut up. Start making decisions behind closed doors, and then, like, I don't know, make contracts saying that, like, no one can talk about who's in talks or something. Just that no one knows what's going on until it's official, and then be like, hey, surprise, this movie is already halfway through production. Guess what? You didn't hear about it because nothing bad happened. We're doing good now. That's the only way that they can do good now. And that is terrible. Absolutely terrible.
That was amazing. Sarah, would you like to follow that up?
I'm so done. Like, honestly, all I really like. What is it? What number is the fourth director? Fifth
With Batman or in general?
dropped out.
So in the span that we've started, Flash has lost 2 directors officially, but 3 because Lord and Miller went to do Star Wars, even though they hadn't finished signing on. Then they lost a director for Wonder Woman. They've lost directors for some of the other projects too, but the big ones are Wonder Woman, Flash, and now Batman. And Batman's lost 2.
2. He's lost 2. Okay. Well, I'm so over it at the point that I just want freaking Batfleck to put a GoPro on and just run around, and that would be it. Because I'm done.
Well, and
Him wearing a GoPro, like with the bat cowl and everything, going around pretending to beat up other celebrities would be better than anything they probably come up
Exactly,
with.
because I'm done.
and I don't. One thing that came out a lot of this was last week when this news broke. John Campea at Collider started talking about how there's rumors that Ben Affleck wants out of the contract as well.
I know, yeah.
And
Yeah.
he said, "Look, this is a grain of salt. Don't run with this. Don't I can't confirm this is true or not, but I've had people around Warner Brothers or my sources that have said that quite possibly Affleck wants out of the role too." So you know what? One, I can see why he put that out there. He wasn't trying to stir people up. He was just saying, "Look, this is something that I've maybe heard. It may or may not be true." So people calm down. Of course, everyone ran with it and quoted it, saying that, "Oh, it's true. Ben Affleck wants out." Blah blah blah. All this stuff. Oh my God. But even if it was or wasn't true, but the thing is some of us have been hearing very similar things that Affleck maybe wants out of the role, but it's not because he doesn't like the role. There's maybe other stuff in Affleck's life that is getting in the way, and maybe he needs to focus on that more than being Batman. So even if this Batman movie happens, maybe it shouldn't happen with Affleck at this point, but maybe this should just be put to bed for now. Do we need another Batman movie right now?
I really don't think we do.
They need to sort out their company right now. Not the entire company. The rest of it's doing fine. Just the DC properties are trying to adapt and failing miserably. Or it's like, oh, it's not that bad. And then you look in the mirror and it's like, oh, wow, where's my body? I'm just a head.
Yeah,
There's
seriously.
nothing left.
It's almost like, why are you trying to fix everything else besides yourself? Like, fix yourself first before you, fix yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah, and about that report, like, obviously he wants out of the Batman role. I can't imagine he's, like, happy to be there. He's like, oh, I'm coming off Daredevil. I wanted to really do another superhero justice. And, to his credit, he wasn't bad as Daredevil and he wasn't bad as Batman. He just kept getting put in bad movies. Although I do have to rewatch Daredevil to see if I like it or don't like it anymore. I haven't seen it in so long. But yeah, I mean, poor guy. I mean, he was an Academy Award-winning director, joined the DC universe. Oh, we're going to rush your post-production on Live by Night by like almost an entire year. And you're in 2 of the worst blockbusters released possibly in ever in the same year. So, although I guess Suicide Squad's technically just a cameo, but you know what I mean. It's not pretty, and I can't imagine he's happy about it.
Just out of curiosity, which cut of Daredevil did you watch when you revisited it?
No, I have to.
You?
I haven't seen the unrated cut.
Watch the director's cut.
Yeah.
That I cannot recommend enough.
Yeah. I think our mutual friend Cameron Carpenter on Twitter at Lemetian, awesome guy. Probably the biggest Daredevil fan I know. He heavily recommended that one to me.
Oh yeah. As another heavy Daredevil fan, I recommend the same cut to you. So,
okay.
And to our listeners as well, if you have mixed feelings about Daredevil and you haven't seen it in a while, and you've never seen the director's cut, it's the only cut you can buy on home video at this point because that's the only one Fox has
Oh,
released.
perfect.
Yeah, so if you buy it on Blu-ray or DVD, I think it's the only version you can buy now. So I cannot recommend it enough, guys. You have to check out the director's cut of Daredevil because it is a much better movie, and it's much more what we were expecting. But Spider-Man kind of threw off the R-rated film for the PG-13, and you can't blame Fox for chasing the money. That said, while things look dark for the Batman, maybe things are less dark, at least, for another DC property in Shazam. As Shazam, which is very odd to me now, we recently heard that Black Adam and Shazam were being split into two different films. And it sounded like Black Adam was coming first, as The Rock has been talking about it. But now Shazam has ended up with a director before Black Adam because reasons at Warner Brothers. And now we are finding out that David F. Sandberg, who directed last year's massively underrated horror film Lights Out, will be directing Shazam, which only has The Rock right now as Black Adam and no one else. This is a very interesting move, but it makes sense. Sandberg worked with WB and New Line on Lights Out, so he seems like a pretty good choice, especially with Aquaman director James Wan, who was the person who produced Lights Out for Sandberg, to have them together in the DCEU. It seems like maybe Wan is getting a little more control at WB and DC than some of the others, which is a good thing. So, guys, what do we think of Sandberg directing Shazam?
I still need to watch Lights Out. Actually, I was looking forward to it.
You need to.
Even
Oh
though
my gosh.
the first trailer I saw of it, I thought was like a parody where like the lady turns on and off the lights, and then there's a scary monster there. And like when the trailer kicks off, the rest of it's scary. So I'm not talking crap. I just remember laughing really hard because I thought it was a parody. I was like, oh no, this is a really scary movie,
Dude.
Whoa.
It's a beautiful allegory for. Well, not beautiful, but it's a really interesting allegory for depression.
It's
also
so suspenseful. Oh my god. Like
I'll
you
have to check
can't
it
look
out.
away, but you can look away. Like it's hard. It's oh my god. Just you leave the theater just so tense and you're just like, what the hell did I just watch? I need to own it. It's like oh my god.
So about him directing Shazam.
Oh yeah. This movie, I would be shocked if it happens. I have a theory now. It just came to me. I bet you know how like all the Marvel movies they start off with like all these unknown heroes. Oh, now everyone knows them and they're great movies. For
Oh
the most
yeah.
part. Right? I bet the same thing's gonna happen with DC if they stick around, where they're like, oh yeah, all the mainstream superheroes that everyone knows, we couldn't make those movies work at all. But here's Shazam, Aquaman, Blue Beetle, Wonder Girl, not even Wonder Woman. They're gonna change it to Wonder Girl for whatever reason. I bet. And it's just gonna get like really weird, obsolete heroes into the spotlight because they're like, we still need to catch up and make money with these other rival superhero companies.
I mean, it's not a Lego Batman spoiler, right? Like they could even make a freaking Condiment Man movie and it would like that'd be ridiculous if they made it happen. But yeah, like they could even make that a hit and that would be so ashamed if it was better than Wonder Woman. Condiment Man.
I still need to watch it. I heard about Condiment King, so I'm excited.
Condiment King. Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh, same thing. Yeah, I'll be surprised if this movie happens though, because yeah, we just
Because
talked about
yeah.
it.
Andy.
Everything with the DCEU, I have no faith in anything. I hear Wonder Woman and Justice League are garbage, and I don't know. We'll just see what happens. If Wonder Woman is as good as Suicide Squad, then I'm done with the DCEU. I'm done caring about anything. My one ray of light, which was the Batman, is gone. So
Well, it just seems so
I
weird
don't know.
because we were hearing all this news about Black Adam, Black Adam, Black Adam, and yet Shazam ended up with the director. Like it just seems so bizarre to me, and it's just another.
If they're able to make hits out of all their lower level people, like Diego's like theorizing, good on them.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they aren't trying very hard. So I don't know what they need to do. I don't know.
I don't know. It just seems weird. Like but it's exactly what we're talking about. The stuff going on at Warner Brothers, where they're having The Rock talk about Black Adam all the time, only for Shazam to end up with the movie after announcing that The Rock was going to be Black Adam like 3 years ago.
God,
It-
what are they doing?
Yeah,
Stop.
it's so odd, and it I have to say this because we were talking about this last week, and I think we even talked about it a little bit the week before. The only reason we're so hard on Warner Brothers, it's not because we want to be. We want these to be good.
Yeah.
Like, we want to love the DC movies. Some of us here like some of the other ones more than others, and that's fine. The problem is that when all this dirty laundry is being aired in public for all of us to watch, and then you have another company like Marvel who is having less of these problems, pretty much non-existent outside of Ant-Man, right? So why is this continuing?
I also think it's really stupid that they think they can just dangle like a bunch of celebrities in front of us and then think they can get away with bad writing.
Yeah, that's
They're like, let's give you a star-studded cast and you're going to love Suicide Squad because there's people in it that are super, super gorgeous and they're like, it's pretty and it's colorful, but we're going to hide our bad
worked for
writing.
a lot of people, though.
What?
It made a lot of money. That
Yeah.
made a lot of money.
Because but so it's just like it really, really frustrating how they think they can get away with stuff like that.
yeah.
Well, the audience is proving them right.
Just look
No,
at
I think
Michael
the
Bay and
audience is-
Transformers.
I mean, they're making money now, but in the
Yeah.
long run, you see that all of these movies don't have legs.
No.
Even a movie with Batman and Superman in the title cannot
Doesn't cross a billion.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a problem. I know, like a lot of people will say, like, "Well, that's greedy. It's not about the money." Like it, again, like we talked about earlier, financially, they need to hit certain bars
If
to
it-
show that these productions can be feasible. And when you're creating an entire universe of movies, that needs to be in the forefront of the suit and tie's mind.
If money didn't matter, Sony would be primarily making Spider-Man now. But The Amazing Spider-Man 2 bombed at the box office and
Thank
crushed
God.
all their hopes of all the stuff they wanted to do.
Bombing is $800 million. I
Well-
want that life.
Yeah,
I know,
right?
Oh no, yeah. I only made $600 million on this one movie I made, so
Well, we also have to remember that they spent $250 million on The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and another $100 million on marketing.
oh my God.
Still a
I heard it
profit.
was actually more than $100 million.
Well, I think I'm rounding down
Yeah.
because I've
We're being
rough.
polite.
Yeah,
have
we're
to
being
show respect for the dead, even if we're bastards.
But I mean, the fact that The Amazing Spider-Man 2 cost that much to make, and now now Sony's in control. Well, not control. Marvel is mostly in control of the property. It tells you everything. WB needs to get to that kind of level, and I kind of brought it up before. I don't know why we're surprised anymore because outside of Nolan's Batman movies and Reeves's first two Superman movies, most of the DC-based stuff has not been very good.
Live action, that is.
Live action,
action.
yeah. No, dude. Anyone?
Even animation's fallen off. Patrick, I know you were a fan of Justice League Dark. I haven't seen it, and I don't think I'm going to. But
No, you, dude.
I think something's not working with the people they're bringing on to adapt these properties anymore.
I think you'll like Justice League Dark. I thought it was interesting because Collider actually posted their review for it yesterday, and they said this was the best animated DC movie in a long time too. So it's not just me.
Okay.
So I mean, it's such a step up, and that's the right direction. Like that's the stuff I want to see, and there's the other thing. So what's happening with the live action Justice League Dark? That you had the perfect director in Guillermo del Toro who wrote it, and they were super over the moon about it, but then they don't let him direct it, and you get Doug Liman to do it.
Yeah. God bless Doug Liman, but it's so weird. You have that on a silver platter with a director who's enthusiastic about it.
And he wrote the script.
Yeah.
It's just so odd to me. And so let's just move into the last story in the DC universe. That is another director-related thing. Is now we have Suicide Squad 2, obviously, because it made a lot of money circling directors. And now we're hearing that Mel Gibson is not only being eyed, he has admitted in public that, yes, he is in talks with WB. They're talking about doing this. And this is so odd to me. Not because it's odd for a lot of reasons because this seems like I think like Mel Gibson is still a very talented filmmaker, and this just seems like such an odd way for him to go after Hacksaw Ridge, one. And two, I kind of think it's above him to do something like this. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but then again, I can see why he might want to do it, because if he does something like this, it gives him more of a chance to do other things, because it gives him that pedestal. He rises up on a pedestal that he can use to do other projects, because Hacksaw Ridge didn't blow up the box office, but you do Suicide Squad 2, a movie that made like $700 million,
And tied to famous characters.
and you probably make that much doing a sequel, especially if it's a Mel Gibson R-rated version of the Suicide Squad. This is such an odd scenario to me. Guys, so what do you guys think of Mel Gibson doing this? And we're going to talk about, there's a question that we got from someone who listens to the podcast who wants to talk more about should he do it because of his personal stuff. So we'll talk about that towards the end.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about that. Like, should we hold off on that stuff?
Yeah, because it's it's for later, so
Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
We'll have time
Okay.
to talk about it.
My comments mostly are in context for that. So what I'll say is that I don't think the movie will happen, even if he signs on still. As a follow-up to the previous DC stuff we talked about, because I think it's all going to come crumbling down soon, because this model can't sustain itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely understand that. Andy?
I thought that he hated all these blockbuster superhero movies.
Oh, he does, but I
He
bet he
does.
likes money.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
bet.
but it just blows my mind that he would even consider it.
But
It
then
just bugs
again,
me.
I feel like out of the hero, if Mel Gibson was going to direct any type of superhero movie, Iron Man, Suicide Squad, and Batman are the only ones that really make sense for his style. Especially if you take all the mystic bullshit that they had in Suicide Squad and do it this way. Because a grounded Suicide Squad is pretty much up his alley.
We'll see. Well, I guess we won't see because it's not going to happen, but theoretically we'll see.
I'm not even
Sarah,
trying
what
to
do
be
you think?
cynical. It's just like these things can't sustain themselves. It's just not. It's not feasible.
No.
Yeah.
I know, like, I just kind of want the Suicide Squad movies to still be like in the same fun vein that like maybe his Lethal Weapon movies he was in, that he can kind of like carry that over. I know like the first one was still like fun and colorful and all that jazz, but if he can kind of like bring back more of like a
You
Lethal
want like
Weapon kind of fun.
like an 80s action vibe from your Suicide Squad is what you're saying.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's what I like.
The only and I'm with you on that. The only problem is none of the movies he's directed necessarily reflect that from him.
But yeah, but that's just what I think. But anyways,
I agree with you. I'm just saying.
And then like, what Andy was saying was just the fact that it seems so different compared to Hacksaw Ridge, and it's just honestly, it's going to be him trying to change his career around.
Which,
You know what? No. I have one thing. This doesn't lean too hard into the topic of the question, but Mel Gibson is known to be a volatile person. And I would just love to see the suits at Warner Brothers who've scared every other director away. And then Mel Gibson just ends up really wanting to do this movie. And are we allowed to curse on this show?
a little bit, yes.
Okay, can I drop an F-bomb?
You can drop the one for the episode.
Okay.
Change
And
jar.
then, like, they'll try to be like, oh, no, Mel, we actually need you to do this with the script. And then he just, like, grabs someone by the throat, and he's like, no, I'm going to make this fucking movie. And then he just scares, like, the shit out of all these people. And then,
And
they
then
end
the
up
South
making
Park
good
episode
movies.
really happens.
Yeah, and then he just totally makes these people, like, he puts the
So
fear
it's-
of God into them.
Starts pooping on them.
You know what I want, though? I would love to see that happen. I would love to see Jared Leto try to work with him.
Oh, my God. And then Mel Gibson just, like, clocks him.
Yeah.
Boom! Right in the face.
Because
Not in
Gibson
my
won't
house.
take what he did.
Yeah, he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm trying to get into character." He's like, "No, I saw your character. You weren't getting in nothing. No, back off, son."
I hope to go, we're going to talk about that more. We are.
Yeah, because we have some good questions.
We do, and one of these directly involves what we're talking about right now. So we will get to that. So let's move into the next subject before we really breach into what we're going to be talking about with Mel Gibson personally. But we're going to be talking about Mission Impossible 6 because now we know Mission Impossible 6 is actually happening, and we are starting to get word from Christopher McQuarrie exactly what is going to be going on with it because McQuarrie's been working for a while on the script. He's getting everyone back, and now we're learning that not only are they hoping to really like dig into Ethan Hunt as a character, this will be the first film in the series that doesn't open with an action scene. He said it starts in a very unconventional way, and it does not start with action. That was the hardest pitch that I made on this movie. I've seen 5 of these movies, and I don't know who Ethan Hunt is. One movie sort of dealt with his personal life. The other movies are about speculating what's really going on in Ethan's head. I want to know who Ethan is in this movie. I want an emotional journey for this character, and Tom really embraced that. He approached me this time and then said, I don't want to. His approach this time is that I don't want to string together a bunch of action sequences. I want to actually deal with the character. So they put Ethan in a bunch of complicated moral conundries, and I'm trying to find ways to connect them. And then, ironically, they want to. The way they all connected was through giant action sequences. So this sounds fascinating to me, and I'm really, really excited because I love some of the Mission Impossible movies, and I thought Rogue Nation was the best one of the series by far. And that's considering that Ghost Protocol was like a modern masterpiece when it came out. So I'm just really amped for this, and everything that Christopher McQuarrie is saying is getting me more excited. I love the idea of subverting the action genre and not starting with an action piece and really trying to get into Ethan's psyche. And this is really great news to me. So I want to know from you guys, what do you think about the idea of really subverting the Mission Impossible series again and making it like this moral dilemma for Ethan and really digging into the character this way?
I love the Mission Impossible series. Since 3 was a down point, and then since then the last 2 have been getting better and better. So I am so jacked for the next one. I trust them completely. If Tom passed on it or approved it, then I'm good to go. Let's just get it and let's just watch it. And this sounds really neat that they're going to be diving into the actual character instead of focusing on just action, like mindless action or whatever, and diving into the character and then the action complements it. Love it. I am so excited for this.
Yeah, that's I never would have thought to go that way. I mean, obviously in these types of movies, you want to get to know the character, but it'll be interesting to see it not open with an action sequence because that's one of the staples of these types of action movies, from Bond to. Actually, you know what? I was gonna say Die Hard, but no, Die Hard is probably the only other action series that doesn't open with bang, slang, pow.
Mm-hmm.
Pyrotechnics. So, I mean, if that's what made him think of that, then good on Chris McQuarrie. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Mission Impossible movies as well. I think 2 is the only one I'm iffy on.
I think that we all feel that way.
Yeah, and 3 is freaking good, Andy.
Yeah,
I don't know when's the last time you rewatched it, but that's a dang good movie. The plot is nonsense, but it's. I don't want to get into a whole Mission Impossible 3 thing, but that's a really underrated
I thought
movie.
Abrams directed the shit out of that movie.
Yeah, and then De Palma.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't like that at one point in my life. I think 4 is still my favorite because the Dubai sequence is just impeccable action filmmaking. 5 is great because it's this reverse action movie thing where it gets smaller in scale as it goes along, and they're all so different.
That's what I was thinking too. Is he totally did that. He did the flipped action movie thing in 5, and you and I loved that. Remember, we really gushed about it when it came out. We kept talking about it. So now to see him kind of doing it again, but in a different way.
Yeah. This is really interesting stuff because I had forgotten this movie was going to happen. Because we just talk about so many movies. It's some just kind of slip out of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking forward to it, but it's I'll look forward to it when it comes.
Yeah.
And this little inkling of information, really good stuff to hear.
And I just want to note too, real quick, before Sarah gets to give her response, he also hinted at that we were going to see the return of characters that we're not expecting to see, outside of the ones that obviously Simon Pegg is returning, Jeremy Renner is returning, and Rebecca Ferguson are returning. But he's hinting that we're Ving Rhames as well. But he's saying we're going to see the return of other characters that we're not expecting.
Michelle Monaghan.
That's
Yeah.
I went to my one that I wish, I know it won't, Emilio Estevez. That would be
Didn't
my
he
jam.
die?
Yeah, he did, but I don't care. It's a Mission Impossible movie.
If they can
Yeah, he
have
could come
a
back.
reunion for what is that Christmas movie you love so much right now? The one where Alan Rickman was in it.
Oh, Love Actually.
If they can have a reunion for Love Actually and Alan Rickman can magically show up, I think we can have that one happen.
But Rickman's not. They're not having his character come back in that.
It's gonna happen. Don't worry.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
So, what do you think of them doing the Mission Impossible subverting the action series?
Hearing this news kind of like was similar to like hearing about Rogue One's not having the opening crawl kind of thing to me. And I'm like, oh my god, but it's fine. I can cope kind of thing. And I really, really think it's awesome that they're waiting till the 6th one to be comfortable enough that they can do it and still give us more to Ethan's character, because you're already invested like 5 movies into this franchise. So I'm fine with it. I mean, I don't really. Are there people that are saying it bugs them?
I think that there's people that are worried that you're messing with what they're doing because they're so used to how something opens. It's the same way people were about the Star Wars crawl.
Yeah.
But I also have to say on the flip side, or not on the flip side, but I have to add as like an aside, I think that this is going to be the last Mission Impossible. So the idea of really jumping into Ethan as a character now to finish the series makes a lot of sense.
That would make sense, I guess. Yeah.
And especially if you're teasing, oh, look at the people we're bringing back, like we're going to have big surprises. It kind of feels like they're going all out for like one final time.
But then what if it's not the last one? Just bear with me. What if it's not the last one and then people after another one gets made, like the 7th one or something? Will people not take this one as seriously just because it doesn't have a opening action sequence? You think maybe
it would depend on who's doing
would
it.
Write it off.
Because I think that after this, I think even if they do a 7th one, it's not going to have Tom Cruise, I don't think, and it's not going to have Christopher McQuarrie coming back. I think whatever happens next, either Jeremy Renner or one of them takes over or the series gets rebooted. Because my feeling is that Tom is getting older, and he's going to be, now that he's the anchor of the Universal monsters, we're going to see him more doing those, and because that is less strain on him than having to up himself every time doing one of these movies.
Yeah. Good point. Yep.
Do you guys have any thoughts one way or the other about this possibly being the final movie?
I think from the direction it feels like it's going, like just as a series as a whole, this feels like the right place to end it with 2 trilogies. But seeing how Paramount can't really find another sustainable franchise besides this and the Transformers movies for whatever reason. Star Trek does well, I know.
Yeah.
But it doesn't do great, unfortunately, and the last one was...
Amazing.
Yeah, just fantastic. I think they're going to want it to keep going. Whether that's through a reboot or spin-offs, I don't know. But it's a sort of movie where even though it's become a Tom Cruise action vehicle series, the Mission Impossible series as a whole is about teamwork and spy camaraderie, going on weird, outlandish adventures together. So you can spin that off in interesting ways. And if they're going to bring all these people back along with new characters in a fashion, then I could see it going that way too. So yeah, I don't think it'll be the last one, but for Ethan Hunt, I would like it to be that.
Andy?
I just want great movies, and they keep going in that direction, so I want as many as they're willing to make.
All right. Well, I think I can live with that answer. And so let's round out our normal news stories with 2 kind of fun stories, at least, or interesting stories, both involving Logan and James Mangold. So first, in a recent interview that Mangold was having, he actually started talking about when they started doing the film that Fox was actually one, not really feeling it and getting very nervous, saying inside there was a real consternation about the intensity of the tone of the film. It's more of an elegy, elegy about life and death. The paradigm for what was a western, and my colleagues were up in arms. It's not a wisecracking, cigar-chomping mutant sporting Wolverine, and the debate internally became: Isn't this freaking boring? Isn't it exciting to imagine Wolverine as a real guy and isn't it exciting to imagine Wolverine as a real guy and he's world weary and he doesn't want to fight anymore until a little girl needs him? So Mangold really, really fought to make this movie, and apparently Fox was nervous that people didn't want to see this. So it's great to see that they were really able to fight and do the thing that they wanted to do with it. But what is it? How does it make you guys feel knowing that we may not have gotten Wolverine? Probably if it hadn't been for Deadpool.
I never thought I'd say this, but thank you, Deadpool. There you go. There's a quote for you. Put it on the box. No, that's cool. I mean, you guys know I'm not the biggest Deadpool fan, but did surprisingly like the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Alien 3.
Alien 3. That saved the movie for me. I like James Mangold a lot, and I'm a big fan of movies that deal with angst and meditation and introspection. And from everyone's comments, Logan seems to be that in a Western setting, along with a little Children of Men, also from my understanding.
Yes.
So that's, yeah, I mean, it just sounds so good, and I'm so excited right now to watch it. That's, I don't know. I think there's a lot of interesting, and by interesting I mean bad, ideas about superhero movies, about how they need to be pigeonholed. I think even Marvel, the great Marvel, is had some issues with some of their Phase 2 leading into Phase 3 stuff, where the Act 1, 2, 3 structure needed to be this climax in the sky. And I think Phase 2 is the best round of Marvel movies yet, but there's a lot of similarities across the board over there. Superhero movies can be whatever. Just plant these characters in vastly different situations that's best suited to explore their identities and who they are in these worlds, whether it's a real world or a bonkers Tim Burton Gotham City. Like, it doesn't matter. Just make a good movie and people will go to see it. You have all these licenses for all these characters. Get crazy, get weird. People will go out to see it.
I don't, Diego.
Yeah, this is cool stuff.
I don't know if you. Oh, real
Go
quick.
ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know if you heard the squeaking in the background, but that was Kirk, our corgi, running around squeaking his toy, agreeing with you.
Hi, Kirk.
He just wants you to know that he agrees with you.
Thank you, Kirk.
Go ahead, Andy.
I don't I agree, but there's plenty of references showing that great movies aren't being seen by mass audiences. That's my only gripe with that.
Fair. No, you're fair. Yeah, there's always a chance that people just won't go to see something, I guess.
Which
yeah,
is-
and then they'll go and see,
There's a good chance.
and then they'll go see Transformers 74. But
Exactly.
I just want good movies. That's all I want. So yes, dive into these, unique situations that we can find something new about a character, or use that to introduce other characters and then give them their the confidence, quote unquote, audience confidence to get their own films where we get to dive into new and unique characters where we learn more about the human condition and go from there and have great fun and action while we do it. That's all I want in movies. Just keep doing it. And that's what WB doesn't understand.
It seems simple enough, right?
Yeah.
What did you think about the fact that Fox was getting cold feet over doing Logan? At least the way it was.
It
Oh,
makes
go ahead.
sense, but it, as long as the story's good, I don't get why people should want to see great movies. If you make a great movie, they should want to, in an ideal world, but obviously they don't. So all the time, I mean, some great movies obviously are seen by the masses, but it just blows my mind to think that they thought that it would be too boring. As long as it's good, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. I completely agree, Sarah.
Going into the film already having an idea of who Old Man Logan is, I had no how to describe it. I wasn't worried about the fact of the movie being boring, like potentially boring, because Old Man Logan to me is not boring. Like he doesn't have the capability to be boring. Like, and so knowing that it had like a hard R rating, and seeing all of the posters and seeing, yeah, there are little like not family touches, but the fact that him and like a little girl are there, and it's very very humanizing for Logan. I wasn't really worried about the fact that there was going to be a little girl in the movie that would make it boring, maybe. But I honestly, I don't see why they would be worried about it, because it's Old Man Logan. That's all I can really say about it, because it's Old Man Logan.
And you know
Like,
what? It's kind of sad in
Like-
in a little bit too that their first thought process was literally, "Oh my God, we're gonna make a movie that's like a character study. It might be boring for people." And I think that's like the mindset now at some studios is they're like, "Oh, it's a character piece. We probably shouldn't do it," you know. And I think that's flawed because when we watch movies like John Wick was a great character piece that was also incredibly violent. It was made for adults, and it was the least bit boring. Of course, it has more action than Logan does, but the idea that you can't explore character is really troubling. At least to me, it's troubling that some studios think that way. Because I'm with Diego, and comic book movies shouldn't be pigeonholed into what it should be. A comic book movie should be able to be anything. And I think that that's something that Marvel has, as much as I love the Marvel movies, they have struggled a little bit with that as well. And that's why I love Iron Man 3 more than all the other ones. Because I thought it was a movie that was a great character study on Stark with the PTSD and the things that he went through. And it's such an interesting movie, and it was so different than all the other Marvel movies. And yet, for some reason, everyone is so hard on it. I'm afraid of that kind of backlash with Logan. And it sucks because if I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, and I hope people just love and love and love and love this movie. But if they don't, it's going to scare audience. It's going to scare the studios, and then we're going to get less movies like this. And that's my fear, because I want more movies that are ballsy and gutsy like this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I love ballsy movies.
Because I just get worried, and when you see some of the generic things that we end up with that passes as entertainment, it's really frustrating when things like Suicide Squad get through with a script that was so rushed that even the director has come out and said, "I should have done this differently."
Yeah, and then like the thing that sucks about that kind of stuff is then the people will cry out that they want more original movies, and then when they come around, they never see them.
Yeah, I'm looking at The Nice Guys. Where were all you guys when The Nice Guys came out last year?
and nobody wanted to watch La La Land. Just kidding.
No, but seriously, like The Nice Guys was such a fantastic movie. All four of us here loved it,
Yeah, it was good.
and yet,
It's okay. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Jesus.
I almost dropped another F-bomb.
It's
that good.
it is.
It's Gosling-tastic.
It's such a fantastic goddamn movie, and no one went to see it.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating because where were you guys when Pacific Rim came out?
It's like that with Linklater's films a lot too.
Yeah, so where are
These
the
are tiny little budgets.
but where are these
They mostly
people?
recuperate.
Where are these people who are begging for all these original projects? Where were you when Kubo came out?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, come on, guys. Now I'm mad.
I'm just saying, like, and I don't mean to be like raw, like I don't mean to put people down. That's not what I'm trying to do. But if you're gonna complain about original movies, then watch original movies. Like, don't be like, oh, I want original movies, and then you're not watching them.
Because they want to beat the dead
And I don't-
horse.
I mean, even to that extent, I get not everyone wants to watch every movie, and that's totally fine. You know.
Oh
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like there's just because something's original doesn't mean it's good. Like I thought Passengers was just ass, but that wasn't
yeah.
because
Thank
because
you.
of the property, because it was directed wrong. And
I love you.
Yeah.
Well, that whole movie was
I kind
tackled
of a whole
wrong.
thing about that too, but yeah, if you want to go watch original movies or support certain types of movies, go watch movies in that genre, whether they're original or otherwise. You know, because then those types of movies will continue to be made.
Yeah, watch all the time travel movies you can.
Yes, please.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, seriously, like I own thousands of movies. Not all of them are originals. A lot of them are franchise films, but I have a lot of original movies that a lot of our listeners probably have never heard of. or never seen. One, because they don't think that they're interested just because they've never heard of it, or it's not a franchise because franchise mentalities become so important. And it's a bummer. It's a real bummer. And so I'm hoping that we can convince people, like The Raid, like here, coming back to The Raid, you guys should check it out. It's an original action franchise. It's fantastic. It's well done. It has subtitles, but it should not scare you off.
Yeah.
You know? So this is us pleading with you guys. Come on, like give stuff like this a chance, because when movies like Logan happen, it's special. When movies like Sin City happen, it's special. Just Deadpool, special. We need these movies that are different and like subvert what we're expecting.
And allowed to be what they are.
Yeah, because if you don't, cinema will never be able to grow. And superhero movies will never be able to grow, and that's not okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was like my rant for this, but
Hallelujah.
it's important.
Go
It's
rewatch Age of Ultron.
yeah, for real. Go, and Age of Ultron's another one that people are unfairly maligning for no reason.
And you're allowed to dislike these movies we're talking about.
Yes, you
too.
are.
We're just trying to make a point about go watch movies in the same vein of movies you want to support.
I don't know about that. I don't know if they're allowed to disagree.
I mean,
No,
that's
Anthony,
fair
Andy,
too.
You're right. If you have different opinions than us, then you're clearly just wrong.
Yeah.
There are some people that have
at me
ridiculous
on Twitter.
opinions, though.
And I mean,
Yeah, you have to at Mike Messina.
yeah. Anytime that you're upset at us or because we say you're not right, just at Mike Messina, and it's Mike the film guy.
Can we spell it, everybody?
It's just Mike the film guy
Mike the
at
film
Mike the
guy.
film guy. It's
Yeah,
fine.
he's our quote unquote like handler. So like you tell him and then he'll get to us. It'll be fine.
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing, and he loves when you guys tweet angry things at him. I promise.
Yeah, especially like if you like bash him for liking Jason X.
Because Jason X is just his favorite movie in the whole world. But
He's gonna kill us.
so let's move into our fan questions because we actually have a few. So this is going to be a little bit fun, and we're going to have a little bit of time to talk about all these things. There are some of it's kind of things that we've hit on a little bit, but let's jump into it. Jeremy, who actually sent us that great question last week about the Star Wars 4K, actually sent us another question today.
Thank you.
And he had this to say. He said, "What's next for Matt Reeves now that Batman is out of the way, and what do you guys want to see from him?"
What's his Twitter handle?
It's the X Quack. I'd have to look it up at the moment. I just pulled his name as Jeremy because that's how I know him. That's how I've always known him. So Jeremy wants to know what we see next for Matt Reeves, and he asked this because he's a huge fan of the Planet of the Apes franchise, and he wants to know if we think he'll do more.
Oh, go ahead, Andy.
I would like him to get on the wheel of the Cloverfield surprise movies.
Oh, that would be awesome. Well, he did. Well, the surprise movies you're talking about. He did the
Yeah,
original.
the surprise because he did Cloverfield.
Yeah.
So like like have him hop on the wheel of directors that do the surprise ones.
Mm-hmm. That'd be
That
cool.
just come out of nowhere.
That'd be really fun, actually. Diego?
I don't know. I see something distant in his future, something far, far away.
Are you looking in your little seeing thing?
Eyeglass.
Star Wars. He's doing Star Wars.
Yeah.
I see him doing Star Wars. I don't want him to do any more Apes movies, not because I don't think he'd deliver on them.
No,
but
definitely.
Because I'd like him to wrap up this like mini Caesar trilogy, and then when the Apes movies continue eventually, because it's shown that sustainable franchise, they do something else with it now.
And he can produce them, though.
Yeah, and he can produce it, maybe write or whatever. That'd be cool to see him return to Cloverfield because the first one was his first movie, I believe, too, right?
Yeah, it
Wait,
was.
wait, wait. Who directed War?
Matt
The
Reeves.
new one? Yeah, Matt
Okay,
Reeves.
that's what I thought. Okay, Reeves did Dawn too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you want him to do the one after Dawn, after War?
No, he's saying he
No,
wants
I
to see
don't
him
want
close
I want him
Caesar's
to move
story.
on.
Gotcha. Okay, good.
But something else entirely. Maybe not even franchise related or remake related. Like maybe he's got an idea in his head that we can't even like.
What if he does that movie we were talking about earlier today?
I lost it. Which one?
The one where the predator is Like,
So we went there.
the alien is making a screenplay of a Predator
Actually-
sequel in his head.
You know, like now that we're talking about it though, if Matt Reeves didn't do Star Wars, I would love to see him do an Alien movie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Especially
Alien Covenant too.
because he's already worked with Fox.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, that
I
and
got you
Predator
there.
are under the Fox banner, right? So,
AVP.
oh, okay, if he remade AVP into, like, a good movie, I'd be on board for that for sure.
I
Yeah.
like AVP.
I know it has its fans, and I'm not going to poo-poo on it.
The second one
I don't
can't.
like it.
The second one
is
can't.
one of the worst movies ever made. That's not even defensible.
Yeah.
But the first one, I know it has its fans, and I don't hate it. I just don't like
I
it.
like parts.
So
Like 2 fights.
So,
no.
Matt Reeves.
yeah, so Matt
AVP.
Reeves, I would love to see him do an Alien movie, but like I said, I feel like we're gonna see him go to a galaxy far, far away very soon. It's just my gut feeling is that we may end up seeing him go there. But if he did an Alien movie at Fox, it wouldn't surprise me because he's real comfortable right over there right now.
Is Matt Reeves not in the vein enough to do a Purge movie? Or is that too scary?
No, I don't think he. I mean, he did the Let Me In, the remake of
Yeah,
Let
he
the Right
did.
One In, and that was also excellent.
Yeah.
I think he's got horror in him. I don't know. I feel like The Purge isn't going to get big name directors. I mean, not that Matt Reeves is a huge name or anything, but he's done
Well,
big.
Big
project,
blockbusters.
I
But it
mean-
would be fun.
I mean, considering the fact of what the new topic of the new Purge is going to be, Purge or no? Wait, that's American Horror Story, isn't it?
Yeah, you got
Dang
confused.
it! I'm thinking of American Horror
Well,
Story.
but then again, I guess The Purge 4 is a prequel.
A prequel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Sorry, the new.
Yeah, it's
I
going
guess
back
the.
to why it started, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. My bad. But that was just an idea, like the vein of the Purge, if it matched Matt Reeves.
I kind of just want him to do something original or like a continuation of something, not like a remake, like like he did a reimagining of like Rise of the Planet of the Apes. So but I love that. So I guess I should want him to do that.
Yeah, I'd be okay
I'm
with
confused. I don't know. I just want him to make good movies.
Good movie.
that. Good. I think we can all agree with that. He's
I think we just
talented.
want
Make good
more.
movies.
More
Yes.
Matt Reeves. More
Uh-huh,
Because I love Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That movie, like seriously, like I cannot like say this enough that if
Wait,
War
Rise
for
or
the Planet of
Dawn?
the Apes, what?
Because he directed Dawn, not Rise.
Wait, he did Dawn?
Yeah,
I thought that Reeves did Dawn and more.
he did.
He did Dawn and War.
Yeah. So aren't we? But you said Rise. That's why.
Yeah.
Wait. So are we talking about Matt Reeves, or did you move over to Rupert Wyatt? Because Rupert Wyatt did Rise.
No, just hear me out. Just
Oh,
hear me
okay.
out.
Okay.
I don't remember what I was saying now.
What is happening?
Sorry, man.
No. Like, okay, I got it. No, like with him redoing, like starting Rise, like that eventually got to the point where War could be the point where it's like one of the greatest trilogies of all time. So he has the power to make a foundation that strong. I want him to do whatever he feels passionate about, because then therefore it will be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I think we can all agree. We just want Matt Reeves to make great movies. So let's get to the next question. Leonard Sultana, one of my favorite followers, Lenny on
Hi, Leonard.
Twitter. Leonard, we love you. Thank you for sending us this question. He asked, Gibson-eyed to direct Suicide Squad 2. Should a person's personal beliefs influence their hiring?
Ooh, take it away, Diego.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot to unpack here. I think it is ridiculous if someone gets upset at someone else being upset about someone like Gibson being hired, because regardless of his movie making capabilities, and I haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge yet, but Apocalypto is definitely one of my favorite movies.
That movie
I
is
don't
so
like Braveheart
amazing.
very much, Patrick, sorry.
What?
Passing the Christ is also okay.
No, what was the one you said before? Braveheart?
Braveheart.
Are you
yeah.
trying to break me again?
Yeah.
Are we going to have to
Um,
fight? Okay.
No, okay, but serious talk. Mel Gibson is kind of a monumental piece of human excrement. He told his wife to get.
He said bad things.
He said
Very,
bad
very
things.
bad
it's
things.
just
Mel
disgusting.
Gibson. No.
Mel Gibson is a piece of shit. That's like just a fact. But
And that you're saying that loving like some of the other movies he's been in.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon is one. Like the first two are some of my favorite movies, and I like
Yeah.
like I love the person on screen.
Hmm.
If someone doesn't want to support that person in any way, shape, or form, and just like I don't want to watch those movies because he's in it or he had a hand in it, I think that has to be understandable, you know. And but there's also the other flip side of not everything is 100% good, you know. Like you pull out the cracks, the seams in the sweater, and there's going to be issues in every little thing. And I think you have to acknowledge it. I think it's ridiculous not to acknowledge it and discuss it because it's worth discussing. Because he's just a really bad guy. Um, so I think it's up to the individual. I think him having the opportunity when so many other people who haven't done something as bad um, is odd that he gets the opportunity to do that, or at least have it presented to him. You know, so I'm not for it, but I personally will still check out the majority of things he does. Probably, I intend
Optimistically.
to watch Hacksaw Ridge. I've just put it off.
I kind of fall exactly where you do as someone who, like, and you guys know this, I talk about it on Twitter all the time. I love Mel Gibson. I think that the things he said was wrong. I've learned to separate the art from the artist. And I think he's tried to repent, but the problem, like, repent his problems. The problem is sometimes it doesn't always seem real. But he's actually even tried to use his movies to say it. Like Bloodfather was the whole opening of that movie was literally just him trying to say he was sorry and that he had been sobered up, and like it was literally reflecting who he had become. However, I want to see him continue to work because I like his work as an artist, but I understand why people. I've come to an understanding why people are upset about it.
Yeah, really quick before everyone else goes, it's just my last little thing, I swear. Where I think to the golden age of South Park, where I think it was Imagination Land,
Mm-hmm.
where they talk to the individual directors for ideas of how to deal with a problem, and they bring out Mel Gibson. It's not real Mel Gibson, but it's their version of Mel Gibson, and he has like this brilliant idea of how to go about this issue. And they're like, say what you want about the son of a bitch, he knows story structure,
Mm-hmm.
and that's basically it. You know, he's a talented dude who's a son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that that's kind of exactly where I fall on the situation as well. So I understand why people would be upset, but I want to see him continue to work because I like his work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Has anyone else gone?
Andy.
Andy?
I did not care for Hacksaw Ridge, but you know he knows how to make a story. So like, keep making movies. I don't agree with what was said, but you know he has talent. He has passion in filmmaking, so I think that he should continue to do what he can as long as it's not as long as he doesn't go on another tirade. I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Anybody else have anything to add?
No,
Okay,
yeah, that's
so
pretty much covered it all.
we're almost done. We got a couple more questions. These all come from our follower and friend Lee. Lee sent us a couple of questions that he wants us to get through. So let's talk about them real quick. He said, "Who would be a serious name next on the list to direct the Batman?"
Not Danny McBride.
Jesus.
I got nothing because I don't think anyone wants to at this point anymore.
Yeah.
I can't really come up with any names either because we really don't know what they're trying to do at this point.
No.
There's clearly too many conflicting visions to actually make this movie happen.
I don't think anyone's optimistic enough to even try and make up another name.
Most people keep throwing Zack Snyder's name out there, and I don't want
Stop.
that. Like, I don't want that.
He's why we're in this mess.
So, I
I
mean,
don't even like his movies. He's the reason. Okay.
you know, like, Gareth Edwards would make a pretty cool movie. A cool Batman movie, I think, but I don't see that happening. I don't see anyone doing this right now.
Unless they just throw new meat there.
Actually, hear what Gareth Evans, the guy who did The Raid, makes a Batman movie. You're welcome, Hollywood.
If we
That
even
would be
have a
cool.
Batman still.
Well, just get it out of this DCEU and let them do their own thing. I think people would watch it. Or Joe Carnahan. Joe Carnahan's Batman. He almost did Daredevil, so why not?
He said he didn't want the job on Twitter, I think, though.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying,
Just force him at gunpoint.
No, I'm just
You
saying,
will
like,
make this movie.
let him basically be like, remember that 70s Daredevil you wanted to do? Yeah, do that, but do it with Batman.
Psychedelic.
But the characters are so different. You can't just, like, mix and match, you know?
Yeah, but you could take what he was trying to do, I think, and do it with Batman. Like a gritty 70s noir Batman film.
Oh, Matt Garingo, a fellow podcaster on Twitter, actually just mentioned this. If the DCEU just made period pieces, like Wonder Woman's just in World War One and World War Two, and then that follows your idea of Batman in the 70s, and then put Superman in the 1930s, and just like who cares about continuity? Just make good.
Oh my
movies.
God, a 1930s like idealistic Superman.
Yeah.
Oh,
Coming
want
out of
that
the
movie.
Great Depression.
yeah, I want that
Boom.
movie.
There's your movie.
I mean, come on. My favorite comic book movie here is The Rocketeer, and that's set in the 40s.
Yeah.
Or the 30s, I should say, like 1939. So come on, people, get on it. Andy?
I agree with everything that's been said.
Excellent.
Because there's really nothing to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
moving on to the next question is what
Yeah.
could happen beyond Phase 3 of the MCU?
Young Avengers.
I think that you're on the right track, actually.
Teen Titans Go. Wait, what?
Um,
I'm just kidding.
I wanted to say, and I really hate this, and I wanted to say the Fantastic Four,
Oh, no.
but I'm hearing rumors and suspicions that Fox is about getting ready to do another Fantastic Four film.
I've heard that too, and that's a terrible idea because they clearly don't know how to do it.
Yeah, so
No, I think that since they have the rights, they know what they're doing.
yeah,
was a
clearly.
joke.
So I think what Phase 4 is going to be the third Ant-Man film, probably the second Doctor Strange. We're probably going to get the third Spider-Man film inside of it. Because I think Spider-Man 2 is
The name of the movie?
no.
Spider-Man inside of it? I'm
Yes.
just kidding.
Because I think Spider-Man 2 is going to end up the end of Phase 2, I think, or the beginning of Phase 3, or Phase 4. I mean,
You mean
so
yeah, I was gonna
yeah.
say you're
so I
Both the numbers up one each.
yeah. I think we're going to see more of that, but I think you can count on probably a sequel to Black Panther, but we're going to see more other things too. I think we're going to see a lot of newer characters brought to the forefront, especially in light of whatever happens in the Infinity War films.
after Infinity War, they're gonna be done with the core group because they're gonna have to go back and recast them before they get back to them.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, no one's really come out and said it, but I think that's the plan, right?
Yeah, like they're done. They're gonna be moving on from Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, and Cap.
I think Cap is going to be the only one who will still have some sort of presence. I'd even heard rumors that Marvel was high on trying to do Lady Thor later with Natalie Portman if she was interested.
I bet they're gonna do it. It's not gonna be Portman, and they're gonna have it be Valkyrie, Tessa Thompson.
I would be totally okay with that.
Boom! I stole that idea from Peter on Twitter at Static Jungle. Thank you.
Static Jungle gets the shout out. I like
Yeah.
it. And then the final question we have, and this is kind of a loaded one, so let's dive into it real quick before we wrap. Did Oscars So White influence the nominations this year? I can see by the silence that this is not going to be a fun one to unbox.
'Cause I don't wanna touch this.
If I may take the lead, anyone else
Oh
want
my
to?
God.
Diego, definitely take the lead because I
Okay.
think you can say this very well.
Yes, it did, undoubtedly, and I don't mean that as a negative at all. I think that opened up a lot of perspectives, bringing in more people and women of color into the academy helped a lot because you're not getting the same white pasty sort of Oscar baity type movies. I mean, they're there obviously, but now you're seeing stuff like Hidden Figures and Fences in there, where you would have seen something like The Danish Girl 2 years ago. And I think
But what
is
came
a
out in
good step in the right-
2016 that is the quote unquote Danish girl?
None of it was nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture, so I think we're okay there.
No, but like, what are some examples that you think? Because I think like as soon as I saw Fences and Hidden Figures coming out, I knew that they were going to be nominated. I didn't
Yeah, I
think
mean,
that it
they
was.
fit the bill for Oscar bait, but they're ultimately telling important stories, more important than what Oscar quote unquote importance was deemed prior to this. Like I guess every once in a while they got it at least okay, maybe not 100% right, but something like Spotlight, which was kind of Oscar baity, but fundamentally a well-made movie. You know,
Mhm.
but for Oscar so white, I think it did influence it, and it influenced it in a positive way because this is and not as interesting as last year because there's no Mad Max Fury Road that came out last year or this year of Oscar
Yeah,
lineups, but I think it added a lot of perspective for people and
I think that was the
steps
best
in the right
answer for
direction.
this.
Oh,
I think that you're completely right. I think it did influence it, but not in a bad way because when you look at things like Hidden Figures, it completely deserved the nomination.
Oh yeah.
Fences completely deserved the nomination. You know,
yeah. I
so
mean, I didn't like Hidden Figures that much, but no one was bad in the movie. There's nothing like I could be like, oh well, that wasn't that good. Like it's good. It's just
and
it's
you may
Oscar good. It's Oscar good in the right way. It's prestige picture with soul and legitimate importance instead of patting people on the back. Because it's also one of those movies that is like, yeah, racism was a big issue back then.
Yeah.
yeah,
Didn't shy away from being like, oh, but it's all hunky dory by the end of the movie. Like, no,
It hit it on the nose.
because that's just not the case. It doesn't just go away. People
no,
still need to work things out, and without getting like too like personal, I'm Mexican. I'm white in skin tone, but I'm Mexican, and so being able to see other people of color uh, able to have the stage is just so important because whether we like it or not, whether people want to be quote unquote political about things, you ultimately have to acknowledge that this industry more than any other, or at least as just as much as the music industry and television, video games, there's a responsibility that these people have to represent certain platforms and people of certain areas in the world. And that needs to be addressed properly. And I think we're doing a good job of it now. Or we could do better. We could do a lot better. But
Oh yeah.
I am happy with the way things are going right now. Maybe not everything. It's been an odd year for our country, obviously. But the movie stuff, I think this was good.
yeah, absolutely. Does anyone else have anything that they want to say to that? Because I feel like
No,
Diego summed it really well.
He did though.
yeah, it's going in the right direction. That's what counts.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think it was important for that. I mean, I think I was the one who was saying it not last year, but the year before. I thought Straight Outta Compton deserved a much more attention than it got at the Academy Awards.
And that's why it's impressive that Fences
And
is getting so much
yeah, so the
love.
next year to see Hidden Figures and Fences and some, getting love is great. Moonlight too.
To
Ooh,
be
Moonlight.
fair though, it should have, yes, but it came out earlier in the year where
No,
all movies are generally
it came out in
overlooked.
August.
It came out. I thought it came out in like April.
No, it was an August released. It was,
Are you sure?
yeah, I'm
Yeah, no, it was
positive.
an August release.
I thought it was like early in the year.
No, it was like a late August release.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
Okay.
why, because I thought for sure like it would get it because the kids in it, and that's one thing I would love to see the Oscars do is like a best ensemble award.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's messed up. I thought it was. I thought that came out in April. My bad.
No, 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 and that's why because like that was a movie that was worthy of at least any nominations for the music, for some of the acting, even for Gary Gray's direction. I thought that was a fantastic film, and I thought it got overlooked for exactly what we're talking about. So it's good to see some of these movies actually put up there. And I know that Lee actually didn't enjoy Fences at all. And it's fine if you don't enjoy it, but it's hard to knock that Denzel and Viola Davis getting their nominations are not deserved because their performances are so terrific. You may not like the movie, but I think that there's this inherent thing where people will try to can't separate the what they like or dislike about a movie and saying if the movie is good or bad, or if the performances are good or bad in a movie they don't like. And I think that this is one of those times where you do have to separate. Maybe you didn't like the movie, but the performances are amazing.
So powerful.
So that's my 2 cents on the situation. So with that, guys, I believe we are going to wrap on this episode of Real Film Chatter. Thank you guys for joining me. Diego, it was great to have you back. So
I'm so glad he's alive.
Yeah,
Thank
me
you.
too.
Yeah, I don't feel like it, but I am. No, I'm just kidding.
Well-
Yeah, no, it's great to be back. I hope I can find time to come back more often. I think my schedule's padding out a little better these upcoming months and weeks. So
And we're
fingers
here.
crossed.
We're here every Monday for you, bro, because
Every
Monday nights
Monday.
has become our go-to for the Real Film Chatter podcast. Diego, where can everyone find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Diego Waffles, DEGGO Waffles. Waffle Press on YouTube, Twitter. Check all that stuff out. Audienceseverywhere.net. And I feel like I'm forgetting something, but if you follow me on Twitter, you will find links, I promise.
Excellent. And then, Sarah, where can everyone find you online?
You can find me on the Twitter as well at Princess Poet SB. That's Princess Poet SB on the Twitter. I have a lot of fun retweeting motivational quotes and movie information, and I read
And pictures of your corgi.
I have pictures of my corgi, and my recent rants have been about the DeMarcus Cousins trade, and I have a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, Andy, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at the Talking Can, just causing random anarchy and having fun talking about movies.
And guys, of course, you can find me here every Monday at Real Film Chatter. You can find us on Twitter at Real Film Chatter as well, REEL Film Chatter. Head over to Twitter, follow us there, or head to Facebook, find the page, give us a like, and of course, subscribe to the show on iTunes. Rate and review the show as well. The more you guys do that, the more it pushes it up the iTunes stream, which is good things for us, and it means that you guys are listening, and we like that. And of course, you can find me at my Twitter account, PJ_Campbell, or at Facebook at Patrick Campbell _PJ. And then every Tuesday, you can find me at the Stream TV talking Legends of Tomorrow with Jamie Fulbrick. Dude, I love working with you. It is great. Thank you for having me there. And guys, find my writing at SoCal Thrills. You can go there now. You can find my review for Logan. And we will be doing a Logan spoiler podcast very, very soon. I cannot wait to talk about it. Thank you guys again so much for your support.
And don't forget to send us fan questions.
Yes, and always send us fan questions. You can send them to Twitter and to our email, realfilmchatter@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening. You are the best. We cannot wait to talk about movies with you again next week. Until then, guys, have fun, and we'll see you at the movies. Bye.
Three.
Mischief managed.